Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to discuss because in the past 24 hours, we have seen some very significant developments regarding cryptocurrency, particularly with regard to its regulation and eventual acceptance and welcome in the U.S. financial systems. However, this will result in a general acceleration of the worldwide competition to become a hub for cryptocurrency. In other words, practically every country is currently vying to become the leader in this technology. Given that Trump has stated that he wants to establish the U.S. as the global center of cryptocurrency, the U.S. is undoubtedly interested in a sizable portion of that pie. How can we accomplish that? Naturally, we will watch a few video snippets from the most recent meeting with David Sachs. However, I also want to discuss the SEC's recent complete 180-degree turn in more detail, and XRP will benefit greatly from this. Without a doubt, we have a lot to discuss. So, take a seat back and unwind. Greetings from the channel, everyone. Nick is my name. If you are new to the channel, I hope you will subscribe by the end of this video. So let's get started. Let's discuss the recent events, and let's talk about the price activity in this space right away, since I know that many of you are really concerned about it. It's encouraging to see that Bitcoin is being overtaken everywhere, and we are currently beginning to see a decline in its supremacy. Bitcoin is currently declining from $100,000 to $97,000, while XRP is trading at about $240. Right now, I'm filming this a little early, therefore it is likely that price action will shift. I'm not paying much attention to the short-term price action at the moment. This, in my opinion, is just a market decline. For the noon video, I will probably be presenting a comprehensive, updated view of the market. Because, as you may have noticed, I do have a schedule that includes midnight, noon, and 5 p.m. EST. I usually upload at that time. However, as you are aware, I have been paying some attention to the general movements of old coins, and have been observing a couple of them come to life in a significant way. I mean, it's not quite that wild yet. However, it is encouraging to see some good gains across the board, and I believe that everyone should take note of this since it indicates that older coins are beginning to gain some traction at this time. However, we still need to see Bitcoin's dominance decline by at least 20%. For many antique coins, the cycle's largest movements must formally start. However, I'm absolutely watching XRP closely at the moment, and I believe that everyone ought to, particularly in light of certain recent changes being made to the area. We heard a lot from Brad Garlinghouse at this summit back in January, so I do want to go back to January 16th. All right. Now, with the biggest capital markets finally adopting cryptocurrency and discussing crypto strategic reserves, I suspect a rather imminent function change in adoption is closer than you think, he stated at this conference back in January. These are the things that some major U.S. players have told us in the last 24 hours. In fact, the chairman of the banking GOP made this statement, along with his colleagues, when he introduced the Bipartisan Genius Act. This law, which establishes a stablecoin regulatory framework, will increase financial inclusion and guarantee that the sector can develop and flourish in the United States. This bill is enormous. I want everyone to know that. The regulatory clarity surrounding stable currencies has finally arrived. This will be a significant event. There will be fireworks if this measure is passed. Because if we look at the stablecoin market right now, if we scroll down, we can see all of these large stablecoins. If we want to examine this in greater detail, we can simply visit Tether. ROUSD hasn't been adequately tracked lately. We are aware of that. For instance, if we search for ROUSD on this list, we can see that the market capitalization and volume of this item have not been adequately addressed, not yet, with a market capitalization of roughly 53.1 million, nearly competing with several of these major players. We are aware of a recent glitch that caused this to spike to more than 600 million. However, it's not too horrible that we are beginning to move up the list a little bit. I would like to see a little bit more volume, and once we do start to see some of these moves being made, I think that will happen pretty shortly. Stablecoin laws are the big deal. We are aware that this has been ongoing for some time. Since JP Morgan stated in the summer that stablecoin regulations in the US would soon be clarified, I believe that this has been the case. That, in my opinion, kind of verified that this was already underway, but we'll see what happens. We'll undoubtedly be paying close attention to this in the coming days and weeks, as I believe this will likely be one of the more significant updates we receive in the near future. Let's now briefly discuss the long term in this context. And I mean simply later this year when I say long-term. Since there was a significant conference yesterday, and any criticism of today's press conference would be a complete failure to see the bigger picture, Brad Garlinghouse did reference David Sachs. It is definitely significant and unprecedented that the chair of the Senate Banking Committee, the chair of the House Financial Services Committee, the chair of the Senate AG, and the chair of the House AG joined the crypto czar in pledging to adopt legislation for crypto clarity. Let's revisit that article. U.S. regulatory certainty is imminent. Watch this video snippet from yesterday's conference. This is about how, in accordance with President Trump's Week 1 executive order, the Trump administration and Congress would cooperate to support digital assets. Take a look at this. In his executive order and during the first week of his administration, the president declared that his administration's objective is to encourage the responsible development and application of blockchain technology, digital assets, and similar technologies in all economic sectors. Additionally, he formed an executive branch working group on digital assets that consists of Secretary Lutnick at Commerce, Secretary Besson at Treasury, Secretary Noem, Attorney General Bondi, who will soon be confirmed, and all other important administration officials with a stake in cryptocurrency. In a similar vein, Hester Peirce is leading a crypto task group that the SEC established to investigate this matter. However, our goal is to complete the assignment that the president gave us in his executive order, which is to suggest a federal regulatory structure that would control the issue and use of digital assets, including stablecoins, in the U.S. Over the past 4 years, I've spoken with a lot of founders, and they have consistently told me that regulatory certainty is the most important thing they need from Washington. All they want to know is what the traffic laws are so they can follow them. We're, to be honest, coming off of 4 years of capricious harassment and prosecution of cryptocurrency startups, during which the SEC would pursue founders without informing them of the rules. Additionally, a number of founders have shared with me their personal experiences of being debanked simply for starting a cryptocurrency business. All of this strategy was propelling this significant future technology overseas, and we wish to maintain that innovation in the United States. Like other analog industries, financial assets are going to go digital, and we want that value creation to take place in the U.S. rather than being transferred to other nations. I should also mention that this will be far better for consumer protection because onshore operations are easier for authorities to monitor. Furthermore, the fact that FTX, the biggest cryptocurrency scam in history, was headquartered in the Bahamas is most likely not a coincidence. It will be simpler to distinguish between the good and bad actors if the innovation is moved onshore.